Ugh. Hi, good morning, and welcome to the School of Serenity. We are here being broadcast by Walk to Serenity and 4MTV, and we are a mental health initiative to bring mental health awareness to the world. I am your host, Kara Kihm, and I am an author, a psychotherapist, and a Reiki master. And I have a private practice blending holistic therapy, intuitive empowerment work, and energy work. And I'm so excited to be here today and to introduce our guest, Shannon Willow. She is an award-winning artist. She is an advocate for Mother Earth, and she is a facilitator. And she helps bring people together to share about saving our planet because she knows how important it is that as we save the planet, we also heal ourselves. And so welcome, Shannon. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Kara. I'm so excited to be with you. Thank you for having me here today.
Yes, I'm excited to dive into this juicy topic because if we don't already know, the planet is in significant trouble. And if we're not acknowledging that, we're probably in denial.
Indeed. There is no separation between us and the planet. So, we are in a divine partnership. And, as if in any partnership, if you're only taking, the partnership ends. And
Yes.
so for me, what I'd like to share with people is that how important it is to be in sacred reciprocity with our Mama Gaia. She's
Mhm.
always giving, ever giving, all day long, even things that we're unaware of. And so, how can we give back? How can we be more in humility with the way we live our daily lives and in integrity with her when no one's watching,
Yeah.
and taking good care of her and being a steward of our sacred planet.
Yes. And I love that reference to the partnership. If it's only one sided, the partnership ends. It's so true. And it becomes toxic as it is becoming for the earth, right? It's becoming toxic because we're not giving back in the way that Gaia, Mother Earth, Pachamama needs to thrive and to heal herself.
Yeah, and the thing is she knows what to do. And
Yeah.
it's us as humans, trying to control the situation, always pruning our yards and making everything tight and in order. And, we think that some people think it looks good to be so manicured. And, the truth of it is, we're in the red zone with biodiversity and biome, and we really need to be working on taking better care of our soil and allowing our yards to rewild as we rewild our own hearts.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So tell us about the red zone and let's educate our audience a little bit about what's happening out there. Um,
Sure. I'm certainly no scientist, but
yes.
I'm definitely passionate about Mother Earth and the issues that we have. And the idea why I started Eco Soul Care was because I want to normalize these conversations, because I think, especially in America, people are very like, we don't want to talk about this. Is so depressing. Well, literally, it is depressing. And, we are oppressed by the way we're treating the earth. And so, how can we do better to be in right relation? And so, the science shows that there's four specific things that right now we're doing, that are in the way, the red zone. Like, if we don't stop now and completely turn everything around the way we're doing it, and I believe that we can do this. We have the power because we're consumers. We
Yeah.
have the dollar. We have our own free will to make better choices. And so
Yes.
the idea is, what about if we woke up in the morning and we were just curious and we were in awe of Mother Nature around us, and we're in wonderment, because then that automatically turns it into a place of humility and understanding that sacred connection and that partnership. And so with the science, one of the things we're in the past the boundary in the red zone with climate, which is, hot, cold, and how the carbon is affecting the atmosphere, which
Mm,
basically eradicates the jet stream. And so that's why you get these superstorms.
yes.
And then
Yes.
we have the lack of biodiversity, these monocultures where, for instance, we're wiping out whole swaths of the Amazon rainforest to
Mhm.
plant palm oil.
Mhm.
One thing you could do is read the labels on your grocery purchases. If it has palm oil in it, stop, because we have the power as consumers to turn this around, and we're the only ones going to do it.
Right.
And so the biome and just allowing these natural places to exist and heal, because Mother Earth knows how to do it in a good way. One of the worst things we're doing is spraying any kind of synthetic pesticides, herbicides, any of that. We're way past the red zone in that. Nutrients is in terrible shape. And you can see that by all the cancer that's happening in the world. You know, we all have lost someone to cancer, and it's a horrible experience to go through, you know, to see someone you love, you know, pass away because we don't have the nutrients in our food, and we are putting poison on our lawns. And, you know, if you can do one thing is talk to your HOA, you know, talk to your homeowners association and say, let's work towards regenerative agriculture and creating diversity and planting native species in our systems, and allowing it to be more wild, allowing the weeds to be, you know, people call them weeds as if they're pests, and they're actually medicine. You know, this is traditional medicine, the weeds that are in our yard. So again, I encourage people, get back to that curiosity, you know, and
Yes.
be in a place of, wow, this dandelion has like 500 times the, I think it's vitamin K, than like any place you're gonna get it. And you know, it'll heal your liver, you know. And so, and the bees need that food, you know, in the spring, you know. So a no mow, if you can do a no mow, you know, I grow clover, I grow all kinds of things for the pollinators and the birds. And so, you know,
Mhm.
it's real easy to become a wildlife habitat through
Yes.
the National Federation, Wildlife Federation. And you know, you get a little sign and you feel, you know, I feel jazzed about it when I pull up in my driveway and I see my little sign and all my little weeds and all the plants that are growing there to support our system.
Yes.
When
Yes.
we support our earth system, we are supporting our own system.
It's so true. Exactly, exactly, exactly. And I would love for people to learn about that, because I personally take dandelion every single day. It's so healing for our guts. It has a lot of healing properties. And so if we're tapped into nature the way indigenous people are, then we are ingesting all of the powerful nutrients that it has to offer. And it's medicine. I mean, it's medicine. The planet has its own natural medicine to give us and for us to heal from. And as we're depleting the soils, we're not getting those nutrients. So really, as we're depleting the earth, yes, we are depleting ourselves. It is this beautiful rhythmic cycle that's always happening. And so I just want people to get curious about what the earth has to offer for us.
There's so much. And you know, I mean, I'm wild about her, and I get so excited about just little details. Like this morning, the place I'm house sitting, I actually was able to save a bee from the pool. It went in to get a drink because often the insects drown because they don't have any place to drink
Yeah.
from. And so I saved the bee, and I was like, oh, it looked like it was dead. It was maybe 5 minutes later. It literally like flew right in front of my face and went, thank you, you
Uh,
know? And
wow.
so, you know, we think that these, you know, we consider it like inconvenience or whatever, but the truth of the bees is every single one of them needs to be saved
Yeah,
now. And we need to be planting for the
absolutely.
bees because they make our food.
Yes.
Bottom line, period. There should be nothing put before the pollinators and the insects and the things under our feet, because truly the soil is our savior. It
Yes.
really is taking care of. And if we can start with the compassion of what's under our feet, and we're walking gently and we're paying close attention to those beauties that we can't even see. I mean, it's, you pick up a handful of soil and there's a whole world right there in your hand that you can't even see, that's working as our allies. As there are people, you know, there are allies. So
They are. They are. And you know, my biggest problem is where I'm staying at my parents', there's a pool. Well, every time I go to swim, I'm rescuing the bugs the whole time. So I'm not even getting the workout that I really need. And it's a problem. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I think a core issue is that we as humans are so disconnected from ourselves that we can't possibly be connected to nature if we're not even connected to our own selves. And there's this core disconnection from self that's happening, that's affecting Mother Earth, that's affecting the bees, that's affecting nature. And I think it's really about this return to self. When we can do that, I know we can, we start to see ourselves as part of this larger ecosystem.
Indeed. And one of the tools that we have so many tools before us, that we, aren't using our conscious awareness to be a part of a relationship. And, one for me is the sacred water life. We have this beautiful gift that
Yeah.
we are 70+% water. And
Yeah.
so, I believe I'm highly sensitive and I'm highly spiritual. And we
Yes.
can put our prayers right into the water as we drink our sacred water. What if we stopped everything and we held our glasses of water with both hands, and we were
Yes.
in complete reverence for every time that we had this
Yes.
precious, precious resource before us,
Yes.
because it really truly is. And so if you can just make little conscious movements in the right direction towards our water, and blow our sacred breath into our water, talk to the water. It has memory. Water has spirit. And
Oh,
it's
yes.
there's science behind that. Dr. Emoto's work
Yep.
proved to us that water has feelings, and it has, and how couldn't it? It is a reflection of us. And
Yeah.
so what we see with what's happening with our planet, it's a reflection of us.
It's a reflection of us. It's absolutely true. Yes. I'm going to pause to take this sacred sip of water.
Yes.
Mm,
What a gift,
that,
and there's so much drought happening across our world, and the desertification that's happening to our planet.
the
We're at one
fingers.
third of our planet has become desert. And the
Yeah.
way we redo and undo is we regenerate the soil. We allow these grasses to grow, and there's so much science behind it, there, and let the biome come back, and stop
Yeah.
manicuring everything, and allow. And I know people like their yards some sort of way, but if you could just take one little area, and allow the sticks to break down, and the humus to form, and the mushrooms to come. All these are our allies. These are our people. And we forget.
We do forget. And I think we're so busy manicuring ourselves, with
Mm,
all the dyes and the Botox and all the things. And I'm not passing judgment, but like we're manicuring ourselves so much that we want the world around us to look manicured. I mean, this is very much the culture. We want to be manicured, and we want our lawns to be manicured, and we want everything to be in this pretty little package with a bow on top that looks really pretty. When the reality is we're humans and we're meant to be messy, and the earth is meant to be messy. It's all just part of, how we're supposed to and meant to live. But I think we've forgotten that with manicuring everything around us and trying to make everything appear perfect.
indeed. Well, that's the culture, and that's the programming. And so,
Programming, we can't even fault ourselves because it's the programming.
yeah. Well, what we can choose is to start to undo the programming. I've
Yes.
been here in South Florida, paying close attention to our sacred sea, our great Mother Ocean. That takes on 93% of our carbon emissions. We've killed 50% of our coral reefs across the world. So there's little things we can do, that we don't realize, that our choices at home affect the octopus in the sea, affect the
Yes.
turtles, affect the
Yes.
living creatures, and a lot of our medicines come from the sea and the
Yes.
rainforest. And so, that's the idea, is to understand these are our allies, and they're working, and we need to get back in harmony with these ones. And, little simple things. I mean, there's a huge list of things that I could offer to our audience today, but
Yes.
little simple things like taking your canvas bags to the store,
Mm,
advocating for changes to happen, being a civic hero,
yeah.
because environmentalism is now being a civic hero. Every day I write 10 letters. There's an app called Climate Action Now that makes it super easy to write letters to your senators, to corporations, to people still funding pipelines,
Mhm.
and we can't do it all, but we can do little baby steps each day, do a little bit more,
Yes.
when no one's looking, and make it a part of your daily life, your daily experience. I write 10 letters a day to people in power, to ask them to at least keep the climate conscious mind at the forefront of the topic,
Yeah.
because we have 50 years of soil left if we don't turn it around with what we're doing with that alone. We're using our grandchildren's soil right now. And I mean, nobody wants to talk about it, but let's talk about it. Let's normalize it.
I
Let's
think
bring it up at the dinner table with our families and friends. Let's talk on the phone about this, and make it, a fun topic to talk about, because it's a hard one to swallow, right? We've destroyed our planet. Who wants to talk about it, right? It's
yes,
hard.
yes. It is a tough one to talk about, and it's so, so necessary. I
So
mean, without
necessary.
it, we've got to make these shifts now, and so I love these suggestions, and I want to get into your business down a little bit later, but what would you say to the person who thinks, oh, I'm just one person, what difference can I make? Because I feel like a lot of people have that mentality. It's like, oh, I'm just one person, what I'm doing really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of billions of people.
Well, I mean, what if you added one person, and you added all those billions of people together? What do we have then? We,
Yeah.
we have the collective working in the right direction for
Yes.
the sake of the future generations. I mean, that's why I do what I do. I don't have any children, but I have children that I love, and
Yeah.
I feel a responsibility to be speaking on Mother Earth's behalf. And, you know, she will do away with us if we don't change our ways. And, we won't be here anymore to be able to witness and be in awe, be in curiosity of the beauty around us. And so one person can just do a little bit, do a little bit of your own research, do a little bit each day, each week. You've made a new change. Each month, you've made 2 or 3 changes. And then you find that your home is starting to green. You feel better. One of the things that's really hard is plastic, because they
Yeah.
put everything in plastic, right? And so it's like so depressing. I've been walking the beach, picking up trash, and people say, "Oh, thank you." I say, "Well, you could do it too." I say, and that's what you can do. You
Yeah.
can take the bag and you can pick up the trash, and you
Yes.
can believe that your choices and that your actions, your inspired actions, do have impact. And
Yeah.
then if we're all doing it together, wow, look at the impact we've now had. Look at
Right.
all the butterflies flying around our neighborhood because we've taken such good care. We've made it, we've outlawed poisons on our lawn. There's so much we can do. And so,
Right.
inspired action, that's what I would say,
Inspired action. Yeah.
indeed.
And Lao Tzu says the best gift we can give the world is the gift of our own self transformation. And so think about that. If we're transforming
Oh,
ourselves, if we're healing ourselves, we're naturally going to bring that to the collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness is going to be more aware of what's around us, the bug,
indeed.
the bees, the earth, the water, the plastic. I tried so hard. My social experiment was no plastic and nothing from China for a year. And it is nearly impossible. It literally is nearly impossible. And I was like, why is this so hard? Like for something to be that hard and that challenging, I was just like, we've got to completely revamp the collective consciousness because I was at one point, I was like, even if I sew my own clothes, the fabrics are from China. It's just like it was hard to get around plastic and China. Those were the two things I really was like committed to. And it was just a really challenging feat. But it doesn't mean it's not worth doing.
Indeed. And what if tomorrow you are buying plastic, but today you didn't? So
Yeah.
that's 50% difference, right? So, it's little things like that. Just doing little things each day, a little bit better, a little bit more. And, one of the things that COVID taught us was you can do without. We can
Oh,
surely do without,
yes.
and so consume less, share more, that old adage, I love that. And I think about that, and also think that your actions affect others. We know that. We know that. You and I believe the quantum theory and all that. I mean, it's real that we affect others by our thinking. It starts with our thinking. And so if we just think to ourselves, I'm going to be super green today, I'm going to do without, that you know juice that's going to fuel my body. Instead, I'm going to buy a bundle of spinach that only has a thing, and I'm going to take the extra time to make the juice myself, and you know,
Mm,
I mean, there's just so much because we're products of convenience. We love it to be easy and convenient and whatever. But once you find that, once you're slowing down and being in relationship with the spinach, when you go to the local farmers market and you learn about your farmer's lifestyle and
Mm,
how these farmers work so hard for us to get the
mm,
food to our plate, when I pray over my food, I say, oh, thank you for the farmers, and may their
yeah,
families also be abundant, because we have a gap. We have
yes.
a gap in our systems that our farmers are not paid fairly. And so fair trade is another label to look for,
Mm,
because it's only fair that the farmers get their share cut of, when I
yes.
say cut, and the more we can move away from the big corporate giants and come back to localized economies, come back to knowing your farmers. I mean, that's the first step in greening your kitchen, would be know your farmers and go eat. It's a little bit more expensive, but what if we stop these subsidies that are poisoning, this industrialized farming that started, 80 years ago? We've basically destroyed our soil in 80 years. So how
Mm,
can we do better? Know your
yeah.
farmer. Go meet your
Yes.
farmer at the local farmers market,
Yes.
and again, then we start to talk about, social justice is climate justice, because you have these food deserts. So it's big, right? It's big. There's so much to discuss, but I think
Mm,
as basic consumers, we can start to make differences. We can start to kind of, it's okay to do without. It's okay to simplify, you know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
be a conscious shopper. And you've done a good job in choosing nothing made in China, and
Mm.
as reducing plastic as much as you can,
As much as we can. That's what we have to
much
do.
as you can.
It's as much as we can because I couldn't get away from all plastic and all China. I tried so hard. It's as much as we can. I think that's the mission. Pick one thing and try to do that as much as you can. It's not going to be 100%. At least it wasn't for me, but
Yeah.
uh, the, as much as we can. I chose China after watching the documentary, The Dalai Lama Awakening, and that was just so profound and so powerful. I recommend for all people to go watch that. But just this beautiful spirituality and consciousness that's available to us through nature and through these incredibly inspiring people. I wanted to support that. I wanted to support nature and plastic, and I wanted to support him and everything he stood for. So finding what you're passionate about. Because I think if we can find what makes us excited and start there, that's a good place. Mine was Dalai Lama and plastic. I was okay. What's yours? It might be something totally different, but start where you have the passion and the drive. Don't you think?
Yeah, indeed. How I relax is I like to take in information on Netflix, and there's so many Netflix science-based documentaries that, will help you understand what's really going on with the planet, because, we know the programming, we know folks that watch the basic news, it's the same programming,
Yeah.
and they want to keep this system, the money machine, rolling. They want to keep corporations at the top, and the best thing to do is buy from local women-owned businesses.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Here's another one. Start with women, especially
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
how do we support women? This is
indeed.
a big one on the planet right now.
And
So,
look to our indigenous, the indigenous wisdom, that they're the keepers. They know what to do, and there's so much information in regards to that, just returning to sacred reciprocity is the way forward. And we
yeah,
can choose, and if we choose to be in apathy, to say, oh, I recycle, a lot of people, put that as their one thing. Now, I'm not saying stop recycling, but what we've seen is the system in America is not set up to handle the amount of consumption that happens here. And so the truth of recycling is 9%. 9% is recycled. And it's sad because, again, you have the apathy. You have the people that throw the food containers with the plastic fork, with the salad dressing and whatever. And, why not speak into that judgment and shame? Because I struggle with it. It's one of the
yes,
things that, as a highly sensitive person, I get in these loops of,
yes,
oh, what's wrong with these people and this kind of thing, and even myself, I look at judgment on myself. And so, we have to figure out how to have a balance, in that, and also understanding the truth about, some of the information we're being kind of spoon fed from the TV or new, depending on what you take in. We need to dig a little deeper. We need to take the time to dig a little deeper. We need to take the time to sit with Mother Earth.
Yes.
She's our sacred healer.
She is.
Um, you
She
know,
is. Yes. As we connect to the earth, we deeply connect with ourselves. And I love that you've mentioned being a highly sensitive person, because Elaine Aron, who coined the term, has her PhD and has done all of the research around highly sensitive people. And I give PowerPoint presentations based on her work and everything. She's written several best-selling books, but she says that highly sensitive people, so she's not some woo-woo person who's just like, out of the box thinking. She's actually done the research, and highly sensitive people are affected by moon cycles, by barometric changes, by humidity, by planetary changes. I mean, there's actual research. So as our planet is suffering, it is true and researched and a fact that highly sensitive people are actually feeling those changes, which is just mind-blowing and fascinating.
yeah, I mean, I have my own physical pains that I deal with, and I can feel the pain. I mean, I drive down the road and they're cutting trees,
Oh,
and it's like, and I go to the sea and it's full of sargassum, which is you know a seaweed that basically, I mean, I've barely been able to be in the sea because of the amount of sargassum in the sea. And
oh, I'm not
you
familiar.
know what I
Tell
like to do is I sing songs to her. I take my rattle and I sing songs, and the
Mm,
next day the sea cleared up and I was able to swim. And so, it's like things like that that people think that their energy, their their vibe that they're putting out in the world, what they're offering through their thoughts, words, and actions doesn't matter, but it indeed matters, because we are a collective,
we are.
and we have to make better choices for the children.
We
And
do.
happy full moon today. I don't know if you're feeling
Yes.
full, but I'm definitely feeling full on this full buck moon.
Yes.
And in deep gratitude. And if we could just return to humility with our relationship with Mother Earth, and be super grateful for what's on our plate. Starvation's happening all over the world, the desertification happening all over the world. Our own Colorado River's drying up. It doesn't even run to Mexico anymore, and we're seeing the whole Southwest. I'm sure that's affecting food prices. And so people are directly affected by our climate crisis.
It's
And
true.
it is a crisis. It is a crisis. And we have 7 years to draw down our carbon.
Yeah.
We're at a way past the red zone with this. And I could sit and offer numbers, but I don't know that that helps people. I think, how do we get people feeling? How do we get people in the emotional state of being in love with Mother Earth and greening your own heart, and be in right relationship with the little people under our feet
Mm,
and the wildlife. Stop seeing snakes as bad, and people want to poison everything and put. I mean, it's just like, I struggle with the judgment piece, and I admit that freely, because I want to address that piece. I want to address the shame piece, because I think it starts there. How can we be in a place of you know um, knowing that we make such a difference, that our choices matter, and inspired action matters. And so
yes.
let's get out of the apathy. Let's get in a
Yes.
place of empathy and even sympathy for Mother Earth. And I love that highly sensitive people feel the pain of her. And I feel like I'm suffering because I watch her suffer.
Yeah.
And we can awaken, and we can normalize these conversations, so
Yes.
more people awaken. And
Yes.
it's liberating to awaken to the power of
Yes.
Mother Earth, you know?
Yes. It is. It absolutely is. Our choices matter. I love that. It's so important. That's such a great takeaway. Our choices matter. And so, based on your passion, you've started your company, Eco Soul Care. And so, tell us more about Eco Soul Care and your mission, and just what you're doing with Eco Soul Care, because I love it.
Yeah. So the idea is to help people become conscious shoppers, but not only conscious shoppers, conscious two-leggeds. And so there's a spiritual component to Eco Soul Care. So I like to say it's customized sustainability plans for families to green their homes. And it's also an edge to green your heart, to become in right relation.
Mhm.
So I use the power of the elements to return people to just having the elements and their awareness of how they use the elements every day, like our sacred water life, another thing. People, we breathe freely, right? We're breathing, and we're seeing what's happening to our atmosphere
Yes.
is what's in our lungs. And so
Yeah.
what are we doing to our atmosphere? And so
Yes.
the idea is just to raise awareness around what we're doing to not only in our own homes, but how we move about in the world. And the idea also is to normalize these conversations. And I know I've said it like 3 or 4 times, but I think people are afraid to talk about it. They feel
Mm,
like it's such a negative place to be. But what happens if we don't talk about it? You
right.
know, if we don't normalize the conversations, if we don't make better consumer choices, as we're going about our daily lives, when no one's looking.
Mm,
So, eco soul care is exactly that. What is the color of your eco soul? How green is your home currently? And
mm,
how can we get you all the way to the most beautiful spring green, or whatever that color is that resonates with you,
yes.
we can do it. I have to believe we can do it. And
Oh,
it is our,
absolutely.
yeah. And
I
you have a child, so is that why you make choices, with your forward movement? Are you doing it mostly because of her, or what's your motivation,
I think I'm certainly doing it for her, but I think I was doing it before her. I think my motivation is truly the sustainability of this planet. I mean, I too love the earth. She is a great healer. She is a great teacher. She has so much medicine and so much power, and, is full of miracles, so full of miracles. And so
Mm,
I think that when we can appreciate Pachamama as the mother, as the mama, we how can you not want to participate in helping and saving? And I'm certainly not perfect. I mean, I want to keep getting better and better and better. I want to keep growing. But I think people who are these big advocates, it's just such important work. Do you know Rob Greenfield? Are you aware of
mm,
him?
I'm not
I'm
sure.
He's on Instagram. I think you'd enjoy him, but he is another advocate. I could see you all coming together. I think you guys would love each other. But I can't remember how long it was, but he wore every piece of trash that he consumed. It might have been for a month or something like that. But he was walking around. He's like, this is the visual of what we're just tossing into the landfills. And so he has like these radical ways of bringing environmental awareness. But I think people like you, people like him, people like me, if you're paying attention, you can't help but love the earth and know how profound and important and special it
Yeah,
is.
indeed. As an artist, I mean, I've been a painter for 30 years. I'm a trained painter. I've, been doing murals. My art business is based on community building, and I've always used my murals and my oil paintings and so forth as a way to talk about nature and to understand how people are connected to nature. And then I started Eco Soul Care because I saw a need for people sort of needing this eco coaching
Mhm,
experience so
mhm.
they can understand, you know move past the overwhelm and into clarity and integration of how you can work with the earth by
Yes,
being a consumer. You
yes.
can work with the earth by being having a moment of prayer or meditation in the morning, being
Mhm.
in prayer when you're with your sacred water of life, as you hold it or you shower with it, or however you're in relation, with our water. We know we use fire, we use breath, we use earth, we use these elements all
Yeah,
the time.
they're all a part of us. They're
They're all a
absolutely.
part of our everyday life. And so, with Eco Soul Care, it's really just a roadmap to green your heart. And what does that look like for you? And so it's very customized for each person. And I want to help people. I'm here. I love that this gentleman wore his trash, because it's activism like that, that when you're putting it in people's conscious awareness, when you put it in your mind's eye, then things kind of shift, because you can say, whoa, oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I consume, I
Yeah.
buy, one of the things that I do is I still buy my baby spinach in plastic, and I cringe when I put it in my shopping bag, and so you can't do everything, right? We can't always
Right.
do everything,
Right.
but we can read the labels on our beauty products. We can make sure they're not tested on animals. Make
Yes.
sure that when you're going into the sea that your sunscreen is reef safe, because it's not fair to
Uh,
think that we're on the top and everyone else is below us and we can do whatever we want, because that's why we're in the boat we're in, and it's sinking fast.
yes.
So,
Be safe. I just noticed that on the sunscreen. I just noticed that. Yeah, that's a good one to bring awareness to, is reef safe. Yeah, and I think, we can't do it all perfectly because it would be impossible to do it perfectly, but what can we do? Yes, look for reef safe sunscreen. Great. Connect with your local farmers. Like these small action items, because I think the problem is so big we can tend to get overwhelmed by the enormity of it all.
Yeah, and read your labels. Buy in bulk if you can. That's another thing you can do. And
Mm,
read your labels. Make sure there's no palm oil, because we have the power, because we have the dollars and we're spending the money. And so, you saw it change with, say, organics, right? So people started buying organics. And so
yeah,
Kroger came out with the line. Then Publix followed,
yeah,
then Aldi's wants to tout there, and then Trader Joe's, everybody's doing it. But
that's
let's make sure there's not greenwashing involved, that it's not just another consumer buy to get you to buy the product. Read your own labels and make the decisions that's best for you and your family and the planet. And, I want to start a hashtag, and I was looking for a good hashtag, Earth First. And I saw that there was already a hashtag, Earth First. But what if every choice we made, that was our first question? Is this good for the earth? Does this put the earth first?
yes.
Because it matters, and we're all in this together.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's the thing. These movements happen, the gluten-free movement, the um, organic movement. There are the soy-free, dairy-free cheese, the vegan cheese. All these movements happen. And so it can happen. It absolutely can. One huge, huge thing that I didn't start doing for the earth, but I started doing for dietary reasons. I was having a lot of inflammation, and apparently I was so allergic to soy.
Mm,
Start reading labels, because it's shocking what is hidden in there. Soy is, first of all, in everything, and I'm going to digress to soy, but it's in everything. So even reading your labels, even if it's no matter what, it just brings that awareness to what we are consuming, and I think that's a huge, huge first step.
yes, indeed. If you can't say it, don't buy it, don't eat it, don't put it in your body.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you know, any kind of corn-based, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, we could do a whole pod on just this, because
yes.
our food system, that is one of the main problems, and that is where we're going to make big impact. Is our use your dollars to vote with how you want it to go. Use your voice. I encourage everybody that's watching this podcast, download the app Climate Action Now. The
Mm,
letters are already written to your senators and so forth, and it's a collective that work together. And for my carbon footprint, I have to plant 212 trees a year, and I have a pretty low carbon footprint.
wow.
To offset my carbon footprint, I'm at 26 trees just by using this app, and it's through Eden Reforestation, and it helps farmers, no income, low income families in third world countries and parts of the world, that they're planting these trees and they have an income. And my action here affects their life,
Mm,
gives them a job. And it also helps our planet, because that's what's going to cool the planet. Our topsoil sequesters carbon, it holds the carbon. When you over farm and it becomes dust, if it crumbles in your hand, there's no nutrients in it. If you
mm,
can make a fist and it stays balled together, Mother Earth is so beautiful when she's so rich like that. So be
yes,
curious, what's in there, or those microbes. That's us. That's
yes.
us. That's our gut. That's our health. And so
Mhm.
we're taking care of the soil, then we're
Yeah.
taking care of ourselves.
Yes, yes,
So
yes. And our mental health, because we now know in mental health that the gut is the missing link. The gut is absolutely the missing link. And so, 90% of our brain chemicals are made in our gut. So, serotonin and dopamine, what we're putting in our gut and how nutrient dense and nutrient rich it is, directly affects our happiness, our serotonin, our brain chemistry. We are that interconnected. And that's what I don't think everyone fully understands, is that deep, deep interconnectedness and sacred reciprocity. So
Mm.
as we are making the soil more nutrient rich and, more absorbent, it actually gives us those nutrients that then help our brain chemistry and help our gut health and our brain health. So, I mean, it's that interconnected. It's just amazing how, how much reciprocity there is there.
Yeah. And, one of the things to help shift that mind's eye, make a little note to yourself: I am nature. Put it
Yes.
up where you see it. And, maybe you'll make different choices. I'm not separate from nature. I am the sacred water of life. I am Mother Earth. I
Yes.
am the atmosphere, because it's in our lungs. We're breathing it. The
Mm,
amount of plastic that's being consumed. And, until we start saying no, until we cut that way back on our shopping lists,
mm.
they're going to keep producing it. It started, I think the first plastic was made in 1852, I believe, because it was this moldable material. So you think about everything from 1852 that's ever been made in plastic is still here on our planet. They're finding microplastics in the living human brain, in the living tissue of these patients, that, and it's astonishing. Every toothbrush you've ever used, every toothpaste tube you've ever used is
Wow.
still here on the planet. And,
Wow.
you know, people want to think that it's something else. There's like, oh, throw it away.
Yeah.
Hey, friends, there is no away.
There
This is
is.
our sacred planet.
Yes. Yes.
Indeed.
It's going somewhere and it's here on the planet.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Gosh, my friend had just sent me an article, another place that's really, really harmful for the planet, and I didn't even realize it, is the fashion industry and clothing industry. And there's like a desert in Chile in South America where it's just clothes. I mean, I had a picture on my phone. It's unbelievable, just massive, like deserts full of clothes that there's nowhere for them to go. It's just all that synthetic fiber, and there's nowhere for these clothes to go. And I'm gonna have to send you these pictures. It's literally just deserts full of clothes in South America.
Yeah. Yeah. Fast fashion is a horrible producer. It's made of plastic. It's used oil. You think about maybe like one jeans jacket takes like 27 gallons of water to produce one. It's these ways that we're not aware of that are destroying our planet. And so, fast fashion, yes. Our ancestors got a needle and thread out and we sewed things up. And that's even trendy now. Oh, rips and little patches and little, things. It's like, make your own trends, make things cool that, our ancestors thought was cool, you did it because you had to do it. And, just the idea of where you put your money matters, and where you vote with your dollar. Every dollar you spend makes a big impact on our earth. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
occasionally buy yourself a little thing, that makes you feel good. I mean, I'm not like, super strict, but I try to be very strict about buying only thrift things these days. And, there's plenty of clothes to be had that are in perfectly good condition.
Yeah.
And, that's back to the programming, is we have to undo this programming.
Right.
And, you have to make your own conscious decision and help others wake up,
Yeah.
wake up to your dollar matters, your voice matters, and your choice matters. And so, what are you doing with those three things, to help our planet, Earth first,
Mm.
um, hashtag eco soul care, because we can do it. We can do it. Like, just fall back in love with Mother Earth, you know,
Yeah.
she's working for us, and we have to return to right relation. This is a partnership.
This is
And there,
partnership. Yeah.
indeed, no more business as usual. We've got to get away from that.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that. So this is a partnership, the sacred reciprocity. There have been a few gems you've been saying that I'm like, yes, absolutely. The sacred reciprocity and the partnership, I think is so, so important. And as we heal the earth, we truly are healing ourselves. I mean, it really is affecting our mental chemistry based on what we're putting in our bodies, what we're putting in our lungs, how clean our water is. I mean, it all affects us as people on this planet.
Indeed. I mean, look at this, Kara. When we rest, when our body puts us down, sometimes we'll get ill or something, because our body's like too much, because we're programmed to think that, we always have to be working and doing and busy and the to-do list and what's on the list today. And what about if we just allow and we trust that process, when we allow, and I like to say rest is progress, because
Yes.
we allow ourselves to rest and we see that our body knows what to do naturally because our body is made of earth. And
Mhm.
so if we allow earth to rest and we allow her to do her work without interfering, she knows what to do.
She
She
knows.
will do it for us. She knows how to generate and do the work.
Yes.
And we just have to allow and trust the processes to happen, just
Yeah.
like when we heal ourselves. Let's let the earth heal. She can do it.
Yes. Yes, she can. And we can too.
Indeed.
We can heal and the earth can heal. And so, find the small ways, the really little ways that we can contribute to healing Mother Earth and also healing ourselves. We both have all of this power, all of us.
Indeed. Yeah. And so, you know, let's get in right relation and let's be
Relation.
in integrity, with ourselves when no one's watching, how we're treating the earth. And like I said, you can't do everything and you can do something.
We can
And
do
you,
something. Every
yeah,
single one person watching can do something. So let's encourage you to just pick one thing and start there. I love
indeed.
Yeah.
Every single day, every
Yes.
single day.
Every day. So how can people find you? How can they connect with Soul Care?
So ecosoulcare.com on the web, and Shannon Willow Art is also my art business.
Yeah.
I'm an Atlanta-based, Clarkston-based, which is right outside of Atlanta. And team building's my thing. So whether it's with art or building a green team with your family, I just love to work with people and really dive deep into what are your problems that need to be solved, because we're
Mm,
all part of this problem, but we're also all part of the solution. And
absolutely.
so, how can we show up in a good way every day, doing better for our planet? And as we know, and we've been discussing in this, do better for our planet, we're doing better for ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
So,
It's so true. And you're also on Instagram and Facebook.
yeah, Instagram, Facebook. You can sign up for my newsletter through my website. You can see my bundles that I offer for my eco coaching, and I also do some women's circles called Release and Rekindle, and those are just places that we co-create around the holy fire to burn and release things and be in
Mhm.
a place of community and using our wisdom to support other women through this day retreat process. So,
Beautiful.
um, yeah,
I love it. Beautiful. So make sure to connect with Shannon. And this will be posted at Kara Kihm. That's KaraKihm.com on my website. And then there will also be a podcast, and I'll send that link out also. And then if you want to connect with me, you can go to Discover Your Wings 33 on Facebook and Instagram. And there's a link for a 15-minute consult to find out what I'm up to. And I actually spent a year I sold everything that I owned and I just went to explore nature, and I camped, and I just went into Canada
yes,
multiple times, and I drove to Alaska, and I wanted to return to my essence. I wanted to return to who I was. And I did that through nature, through finding nature. So I wrote a book about that, Discovering My Wings, if anyone's ever interested in that. But I'll tell
me. I want to
you,
read it.
it was the most profound year of
Mm,
my life, is just to get back to nature. And I talk about not having a full length mirror, not highlighting my hair, not doing all the things, like how freeing and liberating and beautiful and embodied I felt. I mean, it was powerful to return to nature and to return to our roots and just to heal. I think nature is the best way to heal. I can't remember who it is. I think Anne Frank has a quote about nature, like something like nature has a lot to teach us. Oh, no, the best thing to do for those who are lonely, sad, and afraid is to go outside into nature. That's what Anne Frank said. And then this other woman, Ann Wilson Schaff, said, nature has a lot to teach us. Another, to learn from her, we have to be in her.
Indeed.
And those were
Yes.
quotes that stuck with me for that year
Yeah.
of living in nature.
Yeah. And be in curiosity when you go in nature, you know, be in a place of that childlike energy. And as you experience, you spent a year doing that. And, you know, what would you say your number one takeaway was from that? Just that she can heal us if we allow.
Oh,
But
yes.
what was your experience, Kara? What was your main takeaway from spending a whole year without all those material things? Because we are so programmed to be materialistic, and
So programmed. It
it
was
it doesn't fulfill us, you know, it doesn't. We're seeking outside of ourselves when everything is right in the ecology inside.
Yes. And my biggest takeaway, the biggest thing I learned was my intuition. It was that
Mm,
I am so wise. I have all of the answers already inside of me. And when we are in right relationship with ourselves, we have a direct line, a direct GPS to all that is greater than us to lead us and guide us. And I think that's where we find our soul purpose and our soul calling, is our intuition. And I found that through being surrounded by nature and just returning to self.
indeed. Yeah, that's a great point, because that internal compass, you know, that some call it gut, you know, the gut
Yes,
feeling, you know, that you get, that's your internal compass.
that
That's
is.
that's creator, the universe, whatever language
Yes,
you use, you know, saying this is good for you or this is not good for you. And
absolutely.
so not good or bad, but you know, in response to that feeling, you know, we should be more in a place of listening to that rather than, oh, well, let me check with my therapist, or let me check
Yeah,
this, let me, you know, no, you know.
you have your gut. Yep. And so now
Yes.
I coach women to help them access their intuition. And part of my business is to do intuitive nature walks. So I take women out to nature to get still, to get quiet, and help them find that voice for themselves. Because we are all our own healers, we are all our own gurus. You and I are just the guides.
Indeed. And what a pleasure it is to be on
Yeah.
this path. And
Yes.
yes.
Yes. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today, Shannon. What a treat. And we will be doing more work together, and we'll keep you all posted on what unfolds and when.
Yes. Thank you, Kara. It's what a pleasure. And I hope that everybody, you know, remembers the relationship. And, you know, this is a relationship. So, and it is a sacred partnership. So
Yes.
let's return to sacred reciprocity with our earth. And what if we measured how much we take? What if we had to give back equally that much? So that's a good way to finish this and end this podcast is, how about if you measure how much you're taking?
Mhm.
Let's give back the equal amount, you know, to our sacred mother, because she knows what to do. She knows how to heal. And if we just allow and trust the process, she'll do the work for us. So
Yes. Absolutely. Aho to that. Yes,
hmm.
yes, yes. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Kara. What a
All right.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.